Welcome back to Third Phase of Moon. Blake Cousins, along with my brother Brent, Paula Asteria, and Dr. J from Dr. J Radio Live. We're going over the latest breaking news with regards to the UFO and paranormal phenomenon. And we're going to get to it right now. Take a look at this. Coming out of El Salvador, captured on a security cam. Dogs bewildered by some kind of unknown phantom, a presence, an entity. Who knows? Let's just take a look at it. I want to get your thoughts right now. Watch this. All right, let's roll this once again. We're looking at something very peculiar, and the dog's reaction tells it all. They seem to be excited about something, and actually not excited, but actually scared at the same time. We're looking at some kind of phantom, an invisible entity, but captured on this camera. You can make it out. I'm getting a close-up look at this, and you can see some kind of disturbance, almost like a humanoid figure walking, but you can't quite see what the heck is going on here. Is this some kind of camera artifact, or are we looking at some kind of paranormal activity? Now, Brent, I want to get your thoughts on this.
All right, this video really's got my attention. There's a lot of aspects to it. What I like that it's captured, again, this is in El Salvador. There's all sorts of cryptid legends that go on there, and it just goes on forever. And what are we looking at right here? Is this the phenomenon, these old ancient legends of something like a phantom or something hidden in the shadows? You hear the dogs, they react, and then you see it just move across, and it's moving from left to right, and it looks like this dust cloud, but then it kind of evaporates and just kind of just disappears out of sight. That's crazy. You look at it. Let's play it again in slow motion. Definitely, you see this apparition or something cloaked. What are we looking at? Is this some sort of maybe other psyops going on, secret technology, or something that we can't explain, the phenomenon?
All right, let's take it out to Dr. J. What do you make of this? Is this some kind of paranormal activity?
Talk about some ultra crazy footage we have here. This is literally from El Salvador. Pay attention to how the dogs are reacting and how they're barking. You could literally see what looks like to be a shadow figure, which actually makes sense to what a lot of people say. First of all, if everyone remembers the case in Miami in January, I believe it was 2024, in the Miami mall case, you had shadow-like beings. You also had the Las Vegas incident where a crash crashed into a backyard, and the family said they looked literally like shadow beings. In this case, you see something similar, except of course you're looking at something much smaller. Some of these were reported to be 10 feet tall. Another interesting thing, and this has come from the decade plus of interviews I've done with multiple people who have seen aliens, been contacted, abducted, etc. A lot of people talk about the fact that these creatures can be literally partly in one dimension and another part in this dimension. So maybe that's what we're seeing here. What if what we're seeing is this alien or whatever it is being, say, 60% in this dimension, but the reason it looks like a predator, the way it's sort of blending in with the background of the forest and the dark and the trees, is maybe it's 40% in another dimension. Either way, super thanks to the people who send it to Third Phase of Moon. And this is exactly why Third Phase of Moon is the world's largest UFO YouTube channel, because it's always bringing you the greatest news about UFOs and the paranormal.
All right, Apollo, what's your thoughts? Is this some kind of paranormal activity or an artifact from the camera itself? I'm not sure. What's your thoughts?
Whoa, what was that? That was very interesting, because what we're seeing here seems to be a man walking by, but they're ghosting out a little bit, like a ghost effect with the camera. At first, I'm wondering, because the dogs are coming in very clear. And so I was wondering at first if maybe this person is kind of just not being captured properly by the camera, but then why would the dogs be clear? So I don't know, maybe this is some sort of person coming in through a different reality or some sort of being. I'm not sure about this one.
Whatever's going on here, it seems to be very strange. And with the enhancements that I put in here, you can make out something, but it seems to me that this is very bizarre. In my opinion, I'm going to chalk this up to paranormal activity. Now, let's get to the latest UFO video just into third phase of moon coming out of France of what appears to be some kind of disc-shaped object captured in broad daylight. Watch this.
Что это за хуйня летит, ебать? Это не самолет, нихуя, ебать. И после этого, блядь, не верь в инопланетян. Есть какая хуйня? Я начал, блядь, О, пропала, блядь. Ёбаный в рот. А, не, есть. Торонто, нахуй, блядь.
All right, let's roll this once more. I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison, the original to the left, and I blew it up about maybe 300%, and I tracked this object as best as I could. And what it looks to me is this resembles some kind of disc-shaped object, but it's pure light. It's illuminated. And what's crazy about it, it doesn't seem to have any kind of means of propulsion. Incredible capture. Brent, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, thanks. Big episode tonight. The videos just keep coming in. And here's another one. It was captured in France. Again, we're looking at this. What people may claim, we're looking at the Tic Tac. And that's what it looks like. It gets a pretty good close-up. And when we really do some enhancement, we're looking at something. And this does not look conventional. It's not a plane. It's not a balloon, and it's moving with trajectory. This thing has its own flight path. It's not some sort of balloon just moving on its own accord with the wind. This thing has features of propulsion. What is this? Is this new technology? Again, we have world leaders traveling across European countries right now, and are we looking at maybe new technology that's being seen across the skies over Europe and France? Right now, we're looking at something that we can't explain, and that's why we're sharing it.
All right, let's take it out to Dr. Jade. I showed this to you just moments ago. What's your thoughts?
What we have here is literally the continuation of what I've been calling the invasion that's been going on in the last several years. MUFON and every other reported agency like NUFORC, National UFO Reporting Center, is reporting more sightings than ever. And it's not just about having so many cameras around the world, because a lot of these UFOs are reported without being on camera. Fortunately, this clip, we have it on camera. What we're seeing here is in France, and you have literally what looks like to be a glowing craft. Is it the shape of a Tic Tac, or is it the shape of a saucer? I would actually say it looks more likely than a saucer than it does of a Tic Tac shape, because when zoomed in, you can actually see what looks like the underbelly. And again, I've said this time and time again, the reason these things glow goes back to 1989 when Bob Lazar worked at S4 on the sport model, and he described how these things work. But the most important thing he said of why, when you see them, especially in the daylight and they're glowing, is you have something that produces a very high amount of electricity, high voltage, and you have a very gaseous atmosphere. Earth's being made up of oxygen, nitrogen, and a whole bunch of other things. Well, you have to combine the two of the electricity with the gas, and you get a glow. I believe that is exactly what we're seeing. And shout out to the person in France who had the courage to not only capture this, then send it to Third Phase of Moon.
Interesting. I appreciate your opinion on this, Dr. Jade. Now let's take it out to Paula. What's going on here? Is this an actual flying disc from another world?
So here in France, we see what seems to be a bright, glowing, neon green flying saucer. You know, at one point in the beginning of the video, I feel like I see a bit of a tail fin coming up, so I'm wondering if maybe it's the light coming off the plane that is kind of giving it a strange effect, like maybe it's a plane with just the sun hitting it in a certain way, but because you do kind of see a little bit of a tail fin on the end of it at the beginning, but then as it moves, you don't see the tail fin anymore, and it definitely looks like a flying saucer, and it's glowing bright neon green. I mean, come on, planes don't glow like that.
Whatever was captured in this video, it's broad daylight, no tampering, it's 100% legitimate, and what we're looking at, it's a UFO in my opinion. And I got a feeling we're going to see a lot more of these illuminated disc-shaped craft. And what's crazy is that this was captured in France, and it's not only a phenomenon in the United States, it's a phenomenon across the world. This happens 24/7. So interesting stuff coming in right now. Now let's take it out. A new video just in, and this is coming out again from another, I think this is a beach cam captured in San Diego, what appears to film a possible USO. Just watch this. All right, we're going to get a side-by-side comparison. The original to the left. I blew it up once again to the right. And look at this. Very close up. You can see this object actually exit the ocean surface and shoot straight up. You can see almost the water as it comes and forms around this craft, and it trickles down towards the ocean surface. Whatever we're looking at, it is definitely what you would call a USO, underwater submerged object. But now it's flying in the atmosphere. So now it's a USO turned UFO. Brett, what's your thoughts on this?
Damn, this could be the best video tonight. We're looking at this thing, and this is pretty much clear evidence of some sort of USO coming out of the water of the oceans right off San Diego, a hot spot. And we're seeing this thing just kind of rise up as it emerges out of the ocean. And then it kind of goes up maybe about, 30 meters, and it just stays there, it hovers. And we see it, it's bright, it's red. And then it kind of goes above the horizon, and it kind of does this display of lights. What is this? Again, we're looking at a perfect reaction of something coming out of the ocean. Everybody's been talking about the USOs, and Tim Burchett just made a big statement that we're hearing about UFOs traveling at like 200 miles an hour underneath the water. I believe we have that capability. It might not just be UFO phenomenon. I think it's within our assets and these unacknowledged projects. Is this what we're looking at? The technology happening in real time?
All right, let's take it out to Dr. J. Dr. J, any idea what this USO is?
We have another super great catch here coming straight off of San Diego from a webcam. Now, this is typically what we used to call in the past a USO, unidentified submerged object, which is basically a UFO, an unidentified flying object going into the water, then becoming from a flying to a submergible, hence UFO to USO. Nowadays, we just say UAP, unidentified anomalous phenomenon, which covers everything. What we're seeing here is transmedium technology. As you all know by now, and I would hope you know this unless you're hearing it for the first time, transmedium means it can fly in every atmosphere the same way. The same way it operates in space, it can operate in the air and our atmosphere, and the same way these things can go hundreds of miles, if not faster, underwater, unimpeded, which is completely impossible. This is a super fantastic catch. I'm very glad somebody had a webcam posting to the coast, otherwise we may have never seen this. And yeah, you literally have this thing coming out of the water and going back in. I mean, what other proof of evidence do you have? Drones can't do this unless we're looking at something DARPA could create, which in that case, sure. And I can't imagine this being that big. It doesn't look, hundreds of feet wide. My guess is, I don't know, maybe 5-10 feet diameter, no longer than, say, 20 feet diameter. Of course, I could be wrong, but, there aren't many reference points. You don't see the corner of a building. I'm only basing this on the waves. Either way, super great catch. And this, again, is why Third Phase of Moon is at top.
Interesting. Now, let's get Paula Asteria's opinion. What do you make of this interesting capture? Again, 100% legitimate, in my opinion. We're looking at something unusual. It's a UFO. What's your thoughts, Paula?
Here we see what seems to be a USO coming up out of the water and going back in several times. This was caught off a webcam off the coast of San Diego. And this one's really fascinating because, as you can see, it comes up out of the water lit up, and it flashes different colors. It flashes a few times, and then it seems to kind of turn off. I kind of wonder, could this be maybe a flare that's being shot up out of the water from, some sort of Navy submarine technology? Or could it be some sort of sentient plasma?
It's amazing when you receive these videos and these surveillance cameras that are just stationed out to look at the ocean, the swells, the tides, the waves, and we're looking at something that was captured, and it's really unexplainable at this moment. Guys, I want to get your thoughts in this live premiere, the comments. It's really important that you leave your comments. It helps the algorithm. Now, we got another one for you coming in right here at Third Phase of Moon. Sometimes we cover the paranormal, the UFOs, and sometimes we cover sea monsters. That's right, the unusual sea monster, the Leviathan. This one captured our interest, and we wanted to share it with you right here at Third Phase of Moon. And this video was filmed in Indonesia. Now take a close look. It's off at a distance. We're going to look at this one more time and get a good close-up enhancement of what was just captured in Indonesia. Right there off the coast behind an island, you see this serpentine, a serpent-like creature, make its way out of the ocean behind this little island off the coast. Whatever it is, it's off at a distance and it's massive. I don't think this is any kind of wave. Is it something living? Is it biological? That's the big question. Some people might even say Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster, but this is in the ocean. I got a feeling there's probably 99% of the creatures that live within the ocean that have yet to be discovered. Are we looking at some kind of unknown Leviathan sea creature in this video? Brent, what's your thoughts on this?
All right, people wanted to share this with us. It's kind of going viral, and we've been looking at this for a little bit, and we're going to do some enhancements. Let's get a good close-up, and let's just observe this one more time. As we're seeing it, we see this kind of like, again, this dark mass as it traverses across the water and kind of intercepts with the island in a kind of the perspective that we're looking at. In my opinion, I'm just looking at it. Yeah, your eyes and your camera could play tricks with you. Sometimes you don't actually know what you're capturing, but I'm looking at this. Could this be maybe just a flock of birds and creating this kind of mirage of shadows and light and darkness as the sun hits it? It looks like something like a phantom, ghost-like, and maybe it is. I don't know. I'm just saying, it kind of, in my opinion, I think it's a flock of birds as it flies in the evening skies or the early morning. Who knows? Again, people wanted our opinion. I'm just giving mine, and we want yours. So,
all right, let's take it out to Dr. J. I know we cover the UFO phenomenon, but it's amazing when we receive videos like this. And I'm curious to your thoughts on this, Dr. J.
Of all the videos tonight, I would have to say this is by far the craziest one I have seen, and probably could say I've seen in the longest time. A lot of people talk about Loch Ness or Champ, the creature in Lake Champlain, which I believe is in Michigan, maybe Minnesota. The point is there are several of these marine type creatures that look like underwater dragons that have been sighted all around the world. Some apparently have even washed up on shore. The problem is you never know if they're real or fake. What we have here is we literally have in Indonesia what literally looks to be just like Loch Ness. Look how large this is in comparison to the island it is. Look how long the neck is and the hump. I mean, this literally fits exactly what I would expect to see in a movie about Loch Ness. Definitely, as I just said at the beginning of this video. This is by far the craziest one I've seen in quite a long time. I do not believe this is fake. I do not also believe this is created in any way to look like something else. I believe what we're seeing is actually captured, and I believe we're looking at a biological creature, maybe something that was left over from the dinosaur era that may have survived until now and occasionally comes up for air. Maybe that's why we're not seeing them as much as they may have been seen, say, 65, 75 million years ago. Either way, great catch, and I would like to call this the Indonesian Loch Ness, for lack of a better term.
Interesting stuff there, Dr. J. Now let's take it out to Apollo. Apollo, what do you make of this video?
Whoa, okay, this one's pretty crazy. I mean, this looks like a giant sea snake, or I don't know, is this a leviathan? It also kind of brings to mind the Loch Ness Monster. I know there are giant snakes in Indonesia, pretty sure. I know this was filmed in Indonesia, so maybe, you know, this is something that could actually live there, but I'm looking at it in comparison to this massive land that is moving towards, and I mean, I don't know, this thing would probably have to be like 50 feet long, so I'm not sure if that's natural. Maybe we're looking at some sort of strange cryptid here.
Well, definitely it's unknown and it's unidentified. Is this some kind of biological living creature? Over 150, maybe 200 feet in length? Whatever it is, it's massive and it's captured in broad daylight. Interesting stuff right here at Third Phase of Moon. And people from around the world, if you captured anything amazing, just upload that video to any social media. We're on Instagram, we're on X, Twitter, whatever you call it, Facebook. My contact is in the description, my email address. Upload your videos to social media and copy paste that link to my email. Send it to us. If it's good enough, we'll share it with the world. We appreciate everybody, including the panel, discussing the latest breaking news right here at Third Phase Moon. And we're going to be back tomorrow with more videos. Our emails have been lighting up over the past 48 hours. The UFO activity, it's hot right now. Stay tuned for more updates. Keep your eyes on the skies, everybody. We're not alone. We'll see everybody next time.